Hi, this is Steph with Belladonna Dyes, and today we're going to ice dye a spider. You want to start by centering your shirt using the sleeve inside the other sleeve technique. So I'm taking a washable marker to mark out the center of the shirt, and then you want to tuck one sleeve inside the other sleeve. You want to line up the seams in the underarm and along the shoulder, and then you give those little marks a pinch, and I give it a little shake, and then you lay out the back of the shirt and the front of the shirt so that they're together, and that creates symmetry. And it's so much easier said than done. About 3 weeks ago, I was asked by EJ, a viewer, a friend in the tie-dye community, if I would please make an ice dye spider. And sorry it took so long. I had to think about it for a minute because I've never made an ice dye spider and I wasn't sure how I was going to go about it. So here it is. And I know many of you only ice dye. Liquid can be a scary thing, but some projects are better off as ice and some are liquid. But after making this one, I'm definitely going to make more ice dye spiders. Now that you have your shirt centered and it's all smoothed out, you want to decide where you want the center of your spider to be, give the shirt a little pinch, and then you just spiral it up like a regular spiral. I was asked to make a tutorial on how I made a modified fork, and I don't think I'm going to be able to make that tutorial at this time. I had help from a friend and that friend is not around right now. But all I did was I went to the dollar store, I got a package of the little dollar forks, and he took pliers and he bent the two outermost tines backwards, and that's it. That's a modified fork. Now that you have it all spiraled up, it's time to secure it. And I like to use rubber bands to secure my spirals, but if you like to use kite string, that's okay too. I got these rubber bands off of Amazon and they're great for doing spirals. I have a link for them down below in the description box, along with everything else that I use for tie-dye, so go ahead and check that out. For this project, I'm going to be using the bottles to add the dye. It really makes your dye stretch a lot further. If I was using the traditional spooning it on and smoothing it out method, I would use way more dye. So it's 1/4 cup of soda ash to 6 teaspoons of dye inside this bottle for the Raven Black. And since there's so much dye powder in the bottle, it's really clogging up the tip. So I'm just going to give it a little snip to open up that hole a little bit more so it goes on easier. And I'll just dedicate this bottle to Raven Black always. Just a friendly reminder, in case this is the first time you've ever seen this, I am not touching the bottle to the shirt even though it might look like I am. It's just an optical illusion. If you get moisture up inside your bottle, first of all, it's going to clog your bottle, and secondly, When you get water and soda ash and dye mixing together, it's going to start reacting inside the bottle and make your dye no longer valid. So make sure that you don't touch the tip of the bottle to the damp shirt. Brownie points to those of you that are screaming at the TV or at your screen saying, "Where is your ice barrier?" Yeah, where is my ice barrier? I forgot to add one. So before you start adding the ice, I recommend putting up some type of an ice barrier. I like to use the silicone cake molds. Foil would work, cardboard. It doesn't matter. Whatever you like to use, put something around it so the ice stays on the shirt, not inside the rack. It's also a good idea to put on gloves when adding the ice. The dye creeps up those ice cubes really quick. The dye is not going to hurt you and make you sick or anything like that. It's just if you don't want to go out in public having black dye all over your hands, put on some gloves. So for this project, I watched it like a hawk. I want the raven black to go halfway through the shirt. I don't want it to completely saturate it and turn it all the way black. So when I felt like I was seeing some good raven black come through to the other side, it's time to flip it. And I know all the ice wasn't melted, and that's fine. So just take off the ice, flip it, and now let's add our other colors to the top side. I decided to make this spider green for two reasons. The first one being it's Halloween, and second because I have all this leftover dye from making those thermal hoodies, which many of you saw. And if you didn't see me make the thermal hoodies, I recommend going over and watching that tutorial next because it explains a lot about why I have the green dye in these bottles. But for those of you that did see it, at the end I said, I still have enough to make another shirt or another sweatshirt or whatever. And yes, I do. And when I'm done with this project, I still have enough dye in these bottles to make another project. So again, I'm just really trying to drive home to you guys that these bottles save on dye. So I got all my ice on it and I just set it and I forget it. And you want to batch it for 24 to 48 hours after all the ice melts. This shirt ended up batching for about 72 hours. I wasn't able to get to it, and that's fine. Nothing is happening past the 48-hour mark. The soda ash and the procion dye are no longer having a chemical reaction, and this information came straight from Dharma. So now it's time for the rinse out, and you want to start by using cold water, and that rinses away any soda ash that might still be reacting within the fibers, which in this case it's not. And then gradually increase your water up to hot and rinse until the water runs pretty much clear. From here I take it to the washing machine and I do a plain hot water cycle. I do a second hot water cycle using Kirillon, and I do a third hot water cycle using Millsoft to bring softness back into the fabric after the dyeing process. and then I put it in the dryer and we'll come back and see our results. Well, here it is, guys. Here's our ice-dyed spider after it's been washed and dried. And this shirt turned out beautiful, a lot better than I expected it would. I'm definitely going to make more, like I had said earlier. It's such a pretty technique. And it's more like a tarantula because the ice dye gives your black lines a fuzzy look. So I'm really happy with this shirt. The line pop showing through the center of the spider, just glowing from behind it. I think it looks great. This is a type of pattern that you can use any color combination and it's going to turn out very well. So I love it. What do you guys think? Please leave me some comments down below. Thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe to my channel, leave a thumbs up, and click the bell and set it to all. That way you get notified of future uploads. And remember, have fun tie-dyeing.